My story comes as a warning. Don't go looking for the man in the photo. It not only led me to absolute heartbreak, it led me to be scammed a second time. In September of 2016, I was on a Facebook group for singles. I met a man named Christian Jones. He said he was in the military, deployed to Afghanistan, a widow, his wife had died of cancer, and he had a little girl. He even sent me photos of himself with this girl who he called Emily. He sent me many, many photos of what I thought was him. Photos of this so called daughter, and even a video of himself supposedly in military training. I fell in love with this man over the course of 6 months. We texted daily. He would send me poems, telling me about being deployed, his life in the military. He said his daughter stayed with his mother while he was away, and even sent me pictures of his mother with this so called daughter. I was head over heels. He never asked me for anything for a few months, then would request iTunes cards for his phone. He claimed it kept his phone on so he could call his daughter and also text me. We chatted on the phone at least 3 times a week, but he never video called. He said it was forbidden for deployed soldiers to do video calling. Time went on, and he was injured. He asked me for a couple $1,000s to help with the surgery and to fly him to a safe American base in Texas for surgery he needed as it was unsafe and unsanitary in Afghanistan. I, at the time, had no idea how the military worked. I only knew this man that I loved. He needed my help. He even sent me a photo of his leg with a large cut on it. He claimed he would come see me after he healed from the surgery and he would bring Emily to meet me. I had been emailing with Emily for months as well. Long story short, I sent the money to a woman in New York who he said was the military processing agent. When he kept asking me for more and more money and refused to video chat even after he claimed he was back in a Texas hospital, I knew something was very, very wrong. We ended up having a fight. I did some research and found out he was not the man in the photo. He confessed to me that he was a 24-year-old college student from Ghana. I blocked him and tried to heal my broken heart. A few weeks later, I found myself unable to heal from this. I wanted to know who the man in the photo was that I had fallen so madly in love with. I tried to Google his picture, and it came up with a few dating profiles online with different names. I thought, well, those are probably fake. So, I found myself testing the waters by sending messages to these profiles. My results were met with the same stories. They claimed to be widowed, deployed, etc. I knew I was dealing with fakes. Then, I came across one of his photos that he had sent me on a site dedicated to the American military. It was a Facebook page which posted a lot of patriotic stuff, and this man had written on the page thanking everyone for their support. I thought, maybe this is really him. I sent a message letting him know what had happened and that I think his photos had been stolen. The man replied. He said his name was Mike Jones and that he was aware scammers were stealing his pictures. The man's photos had Jones on the soldier's name tag. He thanked me many times and said he was in the military and that the CID was looking into the scammers using his pictures and having the scammers put in jail. I told him what happened to me and how I'd fallen in love with his pictures and thought he should know what happened. He thanked me so many times and told me I was very sweet. I joked with him, asking if he was single, in a playful way, wishful thinking on my part. He replied to me that he was, and that he had just divorced after he caught his wife cheating. I was shocked, not a widow like the scammers say. I started to chat to him, telling him how bad I felt that he was cheated on, and I had the same thing happen to me, which led to my divorce. He and I struck up a conversation that lasted for more than an hour. We exchanged phone numbers. I asked if he was deployed. He laughed and said no, that he was home in California, and he gave me his California phone number. He said the photos of him were from years ago and that he's now retired. I felt this was all so perfect. This handsome man, I had found him. I'd found the real man, and he really liked me. We started to email, voice chat, and he said he was going out of town on some training. He was teaching soldiers at military bases part-time after he had retired. He said he would be out of town for a few weeks, but we kept voice chatting and emailing. He would send me photos I've never seen before of this man. He claimed he'd be at the base teaching. He then asked me if we should meet. This was all so perfect. I found the real man and we fell in love. I told him, of course. and we should meet soon. How, where, when? He then suggested that we meet in Florida, where he was currently training at a military base teaching soldiers. This was also romantic. I told him I would. I looked into flights. This was now 2 months after we first started talking. Well, it happened so fast I felt it was destiny for me to be with the real man. He told me that he could get a cheaper flight through his military discount if I wanted his booking agent to book the flight. He said if I sent his agent the money, he could book it for me, and once I was there, he would pay me back for the cost of the flight for coming to see him. He said the military booking agent would have to book the flight as I was not in the military, and he would put me down as a guest, but I would have to send the money to the agent. He even sent me a website to book the ticket, which looked very real. The tickets I checked on travel sites were over $1,000, but his agent could book it for only $650. I would have to pay through a bank transfer from my account to the agent, who I thought looked very real, and his name was the same name on the travel military airline website that he sent me. So, stupid me sent the money, and once sent, the website was gone, the money was gone, and my dream man deleted his account. I was scammed by the real man. What's going on? I was angry, sad, and upset. I contacted the bank, but the money had already been withdrawn from the so-called agent's side. Nothing could be done. More than a week went by. I was so angry I felt stupid. Had the real man duped me, this real military man? Fast forward another couple weeks, and I was continuing to play detective. This so-called real man's social media page was gone. I did extensive research on some of the newer photos I had not seen before that he'd sent me and got a hit on one of the photos in a search site. The real man had a social media page using one of the photos the second fake had sent me. His name was Randy Jones. This man had thousands of military friends, tons of photos, including photos of himself, his grandkids, and yes, his beautiful wife, who he's been married to for many, many years. I was crushed. I sent a message to this Randy. This man was for sure the real man in the stolen pictures, and I told him what happened. I guess I expected some sympathy, but instead I was met with him telling me to go to hell, not to contact him, that hundreds of stupid women every year contact him, throwing themselves at him and wanting their money back. He informed me that he has no idea who the hell I am, doesn't want to know, and that he's happily married and not interested, and to stop sending messages, and that he's never been on dating sites and never will be. He told me I was stupid and desperate. He was very rude and very cruel. My lesson learned and advice to you ladies out there who have this fantasy of finding the real man, don't do it. While the photo is something you might have fallen for, it is not the man you know. The real man crushed any fantasy I had, and he was not the dreamy, loving, brave soldier that I thought he was. He's a happy, military man who's married, and he keeps having women throw themselves at him either in lust or anger because they lost their money to someone using his photos. My advice to you is to cut your losses and realize you didn't fall in love with the photo. You fell in love with the false words that the scammer told you. The real man doesn't know you, doesn't care to know you, and anyone you think is the real man might very well be a scammer who is so happy to nab you away from another scammer and claim to be the real man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's hard to heal from a broken heart. But it's harder to accept the man or woman whose photo you kissed on your phone each night is nothing like the fantasy painted by the scammer. Move on, accept what's lost, but above all, don't go looking for trouble and seek out the real person. Thank you for letting me share my experience. And we thank this lady for sharing her story. The names of the soldier have been changed just to protect the soldier's real identity. And keep in mind that when you are in a relationship with someone and you find out it's a fake profile and a stolen photo, keep in mind the real person in that photo has no idea who you are. Scammers often steal photos of married men, of men who have passed away, women who are porn stars, and people that are politicians and various people that have absolutely no idea who you are and they're not on dating sites. Thanks again for sharing your story. If you'd like to share your story, you can find us on Facebook under Scamming Scammers Action. You can remain anonymous. Drop us your story and we'll incorporate it into our next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.